Week 1 of the NFL season is officially in the books. Now let's take a look at who the top teams in the NFL are. What up, everybody? It's the Rottweiler Patriots. I'm Vegas.
And I'm T-Bone.
And welcome, everybody, to our second Power Rankings video of the year. It's our Week 2 Power Rankings. Week 1 is in the books. So today we're going to tell you who we think are the top 10 teams in the NFL headed into Week 2. And if you stay till the end, you'll be able to see our Puppy of the Week. And if you want to see your dog featured in the Puppy of the Week segment in the future, the form is down in the description. There will also be a pinned comment containing the form. Just got to fill it out, send us a couple photos of your dog, tell us about them, give us a couple of cool stories we can tell on the show. And if it's a Rottweiler, it may even be featured as a character in the future, you know? So if you got Roddies, send them to us, please. We're running low. Anyways, let us jump into today's video, starting with our number 10 team in the NFL, the Miami Dolphins. Dolphins coming off of a comeback victory over the Jacksonville Jaguars, where things got moving a little slow early, but a Tyreek Hill bomb, which thank you, Tyreek, for helping me out with my fantasy this week. Greatly appreciate it. Is able to get the Dolphins back in the game, and they get a last-second field goal to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. Didn't look particularly amazing this week, but able to get the job done against a decent team. T-Bone, your thoughts?
So I'd say, basically, my thoughts on this are, they are certainly a good team, but they need to do a little bit more to start breaking more than just being at the top of the top 10. They deserve it. You know, out of the 32 teams, they absolutely are top 10 worthy, but so far it's just, you know, number 10 and nothing else, you know. So maybe in the coming weeks, maybe another 70-point game will launch them up and keep them up there for a bit, but who knows. They've earned this spot, though. They've earned the number 10 spot.
Absolutely, and maybe once Week 2 rolls in, we got that rush shaken off, they'll explode a little more. It was actually a pretty slow week in the NFL, especially for the passing game. So maybe just knocking some rust off, getting it going, but either way, the Dolphins have a pretty good team and have earned their way onto this list. Alrighty, the number 9 team in the NFL is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Bucs put on an absolute clinic against the Washington Commanders. Their offense, incredible play. Baker Mayfield looked like exactly like he did in the playoffs, playing great football, connecting with his guys. Godwin and Evans both had great days, and Tampa Bay just trounced Washington. Also took care of him defensively as well. Just a great all-around team win for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They looked really impressive this week. T-Bone, your thoughts?
This was just like you said, a clinic. They were just perfectly in sync, especially on the offensive side of the game. So, I mean, if they keep performing like this, I mean, I would say that it is, in my opinion, that no surprise that they'll climb the list. But they've absolutely earned this spot on Week 1. You know, despite being sort of a quiet week, like you said, they kind of clamored and made sort of a loud splash.
Absolutely. Now, a big issue with Tampa Bay last year was consistency, but if they're able to play like this consistently every week, they're going to be one of the scariest teams headed into the playoffs. Alrighty, the number 8 team in the NFL is the Los Angeles Rams. Rams coming off of a tough overtime loss to the Detroit Lions. Game ended 20-20, very similar to last year's playoff matchup, which ended up with them losing 21-20, so they were a point better, but lost the overtime coin toss, and David Montgomery just ran it down their throat, and they were too gassed to stop it. But the Rams put on an absolute clinic against one of the best teams in the NFL. Great showing. Matthew Stafford looked excellent. Cooper Kupp amazing. Obviously concerned with the Puka Nacua injury, but even without him, they looked really, really good on both sides of the ball. T-Bone, your thoughts?
Prayers out to Puka. You know, obviously that was a little bit worrisome, but hopefully it should be fine. Cooper performed pretty well. I mean, I've heard a lot of talk that's like, oh, he's washed, one season wonder. No, stop, not all that, but very much so. I mean, despite it being a loss, I'm glad that we both agree that it really was a great game. Both teams have really carved their spot into this, into this ranking. I know some people are a little bit suspect on why some teams, on lists are, having a loss record and still being on the list. But I mean, it's just the players that you play. So I mean, I think that the Rams are very much a good squad, and they'll prove to any doubters on why they deserve to be in the top 10 this season. They're very much performing well.
Absolutely. Really excited to see what they do. If they can push one of the best teams in the entire league to the limit, there's no saying what they're capable of doing. Alrighty, our number 7 team in the NFL is the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles coming off of an impressive win over the Green Bay Packers down in Brazil. It was a really, really tight game, but they were able to hang on and get the job done against a very good squad. Jordan Love did go down. Prayers to him. Should be back by week 7 or so, it sounds like. But regardless, the Philadelphia Eagles put on an excellent performance. Saquon looked absolutely brilliant out there. Hurts looked pretty good. Overall, just a good day for the Philadelphia Eagles. T-Bone, your thoughts?
Prayers to Jordan Love. I heard he'd be out 3 to 6 weeks, so given that timetable, hopefully it's a speedy recovery, but an efficient one. I absolutely think that the Eagles have benefited from the Saquon Barkley addition. I think that's a great addition, and you can see it on paper and on the field. I think that's only going to help them more, and you can tell, they were missing Jason Kelce, but I think that missing piece will soon be not muddled out of existence, but Jalen Hurts and the new center are going to learn. So I absolutely think that they earned this spot.
Absolutely. Again, still a few questions with the team. Obviously, you talked about missing Kelce. That definitely was felt. But they still have a really good squad, and I think are going to be tough for anyone in the league to beat. Alrighty, our number 6 team in the NFL is the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys put up a pretty good performance over the Cleveland Browns. Pretty much controlled that one for most of the game. Ran away with it. Cleveland never really got it back close. They looked really good, both offensively and defensively. Obviously, a few things to work on. There were some issues here and there with Dallas and Mike McCarthy with the questionable game management as always, but Dallas still looked like a really, really good football team, and I think they're going to be really tough to stop this year. T-Bone, your thoughts?
I'm glad you brought up both sides of the ball, because it was, despite that Browns defense, they offensively weren't awful, and defensively they were all over Deshaun Watson. Mike McCarthy and his patented questionable decisions, him riding the coattails of that Aaron Rodgers Super Bowl once again. Despite that, they're still proving why they're consistently going to be a great team in the NFL right here.
Absolutely. And Mike McCarthy is a good offensive coach. His big issue is game management and clock management, and he definitely had a bit of a blunder in this game, but fortunately it didn't cost the team too much like it normally does in the playoffs. And yeah, Dallas, regardless, is still a really, really good football team. Lots of talent, and they've just, paid out a couple of big contracts to Dak and Lamb, and both of those guys deserve it. So, yeah, there's Dallas. Alrighty. On to the top 5. Your number 5 team in the NFL is the Houston Texans. The Texans coming off of a tough divisional win over the Indianapolis Colts. Richardson played pretty well, got a 60-yard bomb after slipping. It was an absolute beaut, maybe the play of the weekend. There were a couple of really nice plays this weekend. But at the end of the day, Houston able to outlast what I think is an underrated Colts team and get the job done. They looked really good on offense. Stephon Diggs absolutely went off. Looked like a brilliant acquisition for the Texans. And defense did a pretty decent job stopping Anthony Richardson overall. T-Bone, your thoughts?
I would like to apologize. I was not familiar with Anthony Richardson's game. Analyzing all of the quarterbacks, I would say Anthony Richardson was probably probably de facto most athletic quarterback from his class, I'd say. And he was really keeping the Colts in that game along with their offensive squad. So good to see that Anthony Richardson's not missing much. Despite that, the Texans obviously have earned their spot. They are just great on a lot of the sides of the ball. And, yeah, I mean, some of these wins might be close, but they've earned their spots.
Absolutely. It's going to be really interesting to see what the Texans are able to do going forward, but so far they look like a well-oiled machine and haven't missed a beat from last year. Alrighty, the number 4 team in the NFL is the Detroit Lions. The Lions coming off of a comeback overtime victory over the Los Angeles Rams. They were down late, were able to piece together a last-minute drive to get into field goal range. Bates pounds it through to tie the game. The rookie kicker who came out of the UFL for the Michigan Panthers, who I'm excited about, and I think he's probably going to break an NFL record in terms of longest kick for Detroit, especially with the indoor stadium, but I digress. Detroit looked really, really good. Rams gave him a run for their money, but Detroit found a way in the end. Montgomery able to come alive late and pound the ball in the end of the game and in overtime. Defense did its job, did just enough to stop Matthew Stafford, and the Rams got a crucial red zone interception, which probably saved the game for them. And yeah, Detroit looking pretty good out there. T-Bone, your thoughts?
For all the haters against Montgomery, this is the I told you so. I know a lot of people were high on Gibbs and not on Montgomery, but that's
definitely a fantasy thing. Fantasy football, I think, has screwed up perception of a lot of players.
Maybe, but, some people be hating. I know some people in person that were hating on it, and here's the I told you so. Person 1, person 2, and person 3 that are redacted. Great game. Really probably one of the better games of week 1. Real just awesome squad, continually proving why they're just on all sides of the ball, special teams, defense, and offense. They're just a great squad to watch. Lions have earned the number 4 spot.
Absolutely. Really, really happy with what Detroit has showed us so far. And also, the new jerseys look absolutely exquisite. They could not have nailed those even harder. My only ask is that they wear silver pants with the blue jerseys and not blue pants. A little too much blueberry, but either way, the colors are gorgeous. Everything about it is amazing, and they absolutely nailed that one. Alrighty! Your number 3 team in the NFL is the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens, coming off of a really tough loss to the Kansas City Chiefs, in which there was some controversial officiating, mostly centered around the illegal formation being called on the left tackle, who multiple times, while being lined up exactly with the guard, but having a slightly taller stance so that his helmet appeared further back, was wrongfully called for illegal formation. And then when the Chiefs' offensive linemen were actually further back and committing false starts, it wasn't called. And there were a few other things as well. Regardless, Ravens just barely fall to the Kansas City Chiefs. Isaiah Likely unable to keep his toes in bounds. Just needed to be half a shoe size smaller, and the Ravens would have given themselves a chance to win the game. They would have gone for 2 there, so would not have reached overtime. But overall, the Ravens definitely had some rust they needed to knock off, but Lamar looked really, really good, minus a couple of throws he had to make at the end, although I would contest that the missed one to Zay Flowers was Flowers/Bateman's fault, because Flowers should have sunk in the zone, and the ball was actually supposed to go to Bateman, who curled instead of floating into the zone where he wouldn't have been covered. So there's obviously something there, but you got to have the ball to Likely on the other one. Regardless, Ravens still looks really good. Tough loss to Kansas City. Bit of controversy there, but still a great football team. T-Bone, your thoughts?
I actually think Lamar had knocked off a little rust, but not as much as you think. I think actually some of those wrong plays were on him, but that's besides the point. I think that, still showing that it's a great team, just, some crappy officiating. They've earned this spot. I guarantee they're still going to have, despite the loss, they're going to have a great record, a great season. They've shown that they have. They haven't missed much. I think Zay Flowers is only going to get better. I think he was really one of the more underrated rookie weapons last year, and I think he's just going to continue to flourish from here.
Absolutely. Ravens kept it close against the reigning Super Bowl champs, and people criticize Lamar for missing those throws. Only one, I think, was really his fault, the missed ball to Likely, which gotta have that, but the Ravens aren't in that spot at all if it isn't for Lamar's play. Alrighty, your number 2 team in the NFL is the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs, coming off of a tight win over the Baltimore Ravens, came down to half a shoe size. Likely couldn't keep the foot in bounds for Baltimore, so the Chiefs walk away with the Week 1 victory. Xavier Worthy, the rookie, with a couple of nice plays, using his speed to his advantage, although the second touchdown was more of a miscue by the Ravens defense than an impressive play by him. And the first play was, I think, good play design and good blocking. Andy Reid continued to show that he is an annoyingly good offensive coach who calls great plays and gets guys open. It's so annoying to see just how inevitable it is. But regardless, the Chiefs still looked really, really good and like the well-oiled machine they have been for the last few years. T-Bone, your thoughts?
It really is a testament to Andy Reid's very interesting and very neat offensive play calling. It's not very cookie cutter. There are certain interesting aspects that he's, garnered through the years. I remember during the preseason, though, you were violently hating on Xavier Worthy. You thought that he wouldn't do anything or amount to anything. I remember that.
I wasn't necessarily praising him. I was just making note of it because it was something that people were talking about.
No. You were hating. Just admit it. Admit you were the hater.
I was hating. I wasn't necessarily giving him praise. I was simply pointing out that he did have a couple of touchdowns in this game.
No, he did. I think that was definitely Andy Reid's play calling. They're a great squad. They're a talented squad. Travis actually didn't do a lot this game, but he goes back and forth. Mahomes did what he needed to do. He is an established veteran, so yeah, great game.
Absolutely. Now, obviously, I think a few questions with the Chiefs' secondary, but the front seven still looked really, really good, created a lot of pressure, made Lamar uncomfortable. Lamar able to break out some runs on them, able to make some nice throws. But Chiefs got a bit speedier, a bit shiftier on offense, which is going to make them really tough to play. They still have an excellent front seven on defense that's going to cause every single team problems. And I think, again, Baltimore also had a bit of a new offensive line. They just haven't gelled yet. So I think that definitely contributed. But regardless, the Chiefs are a great football team, and they will continue to be as long as they have Reed, Mahomes, Kelsey, and Jones. So, yeah. Alrighty! The number 1 team in the NFL is the San Francisco 49ers. The Niners, coming off of a dominating victory over the New York Jets on Monday Night Football. Really comfortable victory. Controlled the game from start to finish. Made Aaron Rodgers and the Jets offense very, very uncomfortable. Made it tough for Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall to do their thing. And just ran all over the Jets defense. Sliced through them, mostly with the running game. Also some nice plays in the passing game. But the game plan was clear to attack them in the run. And it worked to great effect, even with Christian McCaffrey out injured. but the Niners continued to look like an incredible, well-oiled machine. T-Bone, your thoughts?
I wouldn't say it was a complete embarrassment. I'm saying it's the Jets, and they're starting to gel with, Aaron Rodgers, who's 40. So I think you're hating on them a little bit too much, but it is a little bit disappointing that the backup ran so much. And hopefully CMC is back next week. Not going to be likely, though. So there's a reason that they're number one when the backup runner is doing so much.
Absolutely, and I wouldn't say I'm hating on the Jets. The Jets receivers outside of Garrett Wilson could not catch a football, and that is objectively true. There were a lot of drops. Rodgers actually looked fine. Rodgers looked a little slow, looked like he didn't really have great mobility, but he still was able to make good throws, avoid pressure, make good changes at the line, read the defense as well, and throw to his guys. He had a couple of miscues here and there, including a tipped interception. But
that wasn't his fault.
No, I don't know if it was the best ball for him to have thrown there.
Okay, well, that's wild. You can't throw a football.
Just because I can't throw a football doesn't mean that I don't think throwing to a covered guy is a good idea.
That actually is true. It is wild watching this guy analyze defenses, college and not, folks. Vegas is like a freak.
I wouldn't call myself a freak, but I'm definitely someone who likes to study the game and really enjoys getting down into the weeds sometimes. And I don't know. He's just talking about it because we were playing college football 25 with the friend, and T-Bone and the friend would be playing each other, and I would be sitting on the couch calling stuff out at them. Like, oh, this is happening, boom, 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 and they're like, stop it!
You helped both of us, though, which is
I
nice.
did. If I saw something for either of y'all, I was like, hey! I did help both y'all. I did not show favoritism, I helped. Now, when they played me, with the exception of one time, where there was definitely a bit of luck, they all got nuked into the sun.
Okay.
But regardless, the San Francisco 49ers are an excellent football team, and there is a very good reason why they're number one on this list, and we are super excited to see what they're able to do going forward. Alrighty, there you have it. Those are our top 10 teams in the NFL. Now it is time to move on to our Puppy of the Week segment. So, this week's Puppy of the Week is Bella. Meet Bella, everybody. This is your Puppy of the Week. Bella is a Great Pyrenees, and a couple of stories about Bella. First up, when Bella was a puppy, she was one time sitting and cuddled up right by the fire, and she slept for hours and looked really, really cute doing it. And then a bit of a more badass story for Bella. There was one time, because Bella lives out on a farm, so there was one time out on the farm where coyotes had invaded the farm and were trying to break into the chicken enclosures and eat them, and Bella showed up and scared off all of the coyotes and saved the chickens. Not a single chicken was hurt. So there you have it. It's Bella, everybody.
Gotta respect that. Love that dog.
Absolutely cute pupper. Looks like she's having a lot of fun out there. Clearly an outdoor dog.
Oh, yeah.
We love you, Bella.
Love you too.
Alrighty, folks. That is going to conclude today's video. Feel free to leave your thoughts down in the comments below. Drop your own top 10 teams in the NFL or anything else you'd like. Tell us your thoughts on Bella or anything else. We would love to hear what you all have to say. And that is going to do it for us today. Thank you all so very much for watching. Please be sure to hit the like button. Please be sure to subscribe. And we will see you all in the next video.